During our Q&A session at the August virtual conference, Anna from the US asked about up-and-coming trends in the enterprise software design sector. Jacob Nielsen shared his thoughts on leveraging large, higher resolution screens and more.
First of all, I think we are about to have the UX revolution hit that space, which is long overdue. Enterprise software is still kind of quite terrible in most cases, partly because I think that inside the company, the thinking is, well, customers don't see that, so it doesn't matter quite how it's designed. But that's partly based on that, I would say, erroneous thinking that design is making things pretty. First of all, even for employees, they still like to have things that are nice, and you want to improve employee satisfaction, and that means employee retention and also even employee productivity, because happy people, work better. But as we know, UX is much more than just how it looks. And so it's also it's more important actually how it works. And that has huge impact on productivity and also on people's ability to perform you might say, advanced tasks. And that's what computers are still holding us back to quite a great extent. And people are still wasting a lot of time on clunky internal tools. And the productivity advances in business in the future will be driven much, much more by software and by software design than by the traditional kind of improving the manufacturing floor. But there's still improvements to be had, of course, in improving physical things as well. But kind of the knowledge workers are who generates the majority of the value these days. And our productivity, and that's people like us. So our productivity could still increase dramatically if we got better tools. And you wouldn't go and take a mechanic and just only give them one big clunky hammer and say, that's your only tool to fix all the machines. You give them a lot of specialized tools for their what they're going to do. And the same should be true here. So I think that's what enterprise will do. There'll be a lot, I think, much more emphasis also on collaboration tools, not just individual one-user tools, but collaboration tools. Of course, especially now where a lot of people are working from home and it's remote collaboration, then software support for collaboration becomes even more crucial. But this is a longer-term issue anyway. So collaboration tools are still extremely primitive. And so software for sure, but even also things like hardware, like getting people the virtual whiteboards for their home offices and various other things. So I think a lot of emphasis on this collaboration, a lot of emphasis on supporting knowledge workers in advanced decision making, in making sense of large amounts of data. This is, by the way, circling back to the big screens. That's where that actually really does help, because bigger screens really are better for almost any knowledge work. I mean, your eyes can just move so fast over the screen, much faster than any scrolling, and you can take in and kind of accumulate information so much better by seeing it on a big screen. And that's where right now we see a lot of, I think, really terrible underutilizations of the big screens for designs that are more optimized towards mobile and so it's like small screens. And then they say, oh, well, just take that design and scale it up and make it 10, 20 times bigger. But that's not how you get a lot of advanced knowledge work or productivity out of them, by taking small things and making them 20 times bigger. You've got to do different for bigger screens. But I mean, big screens, buying a big screen is probably one of the best investments a company can make in knowledge work or productivity, but then also designing for the big screen as well. And you see some companies are doing that for sure. I mean, Bloomberg is an example of that. It's an American company that does financial analyst, kind of stock trader type support systems. So they really had two big monitors. That's what they designed for their main users. You have two gigantic monitors next to each other, and those guys can kind of watch the stock market in real time and have advanced tools for that. But there's so many other jobs where we don't do that, and where people sit and work through very clunky screens and flows that take endless time. I mean, if any of you have, when you go to the doctor's office, an example, you see this extremely highly paid person sitting there working with so primitive screens. It's just ridiculous waste of money that we are paying for. But the same is true for any business, actually, that the tools that people use are so enormously primitive. So I think that's my biggest long-term trend, is really that I think there will be more emphasis on UX and enterprise software, and a lot of that emphasis is going to be on kind of more powerful tools, both for individual use and analysis and data kind of absorption, and also for collaboration. So that's kind of a number of trends that are all kind of in that bigger picture of finally, let's get some good software inside the companies as well.